Welcome everybody to the ASUN show. We're back for another season. A little bit of news before we jump into the games. If you can't tell already, I'm the only one here, and that's because both Ampersand and Judge had to take a step back from it for a little bit. But as the only one without a life, I'll keep the show going. I'll still have guests and stuff. Just this week, you're dealing with just me. Anyway, let's get back into the games for this upcoming week. We got 13 games. Weird number, I know, but it's we'll get to it. But our first game is Davidson at Alabama A&M. A&M coming off a pretty successful season, defending their Dusk title, but once again falling in the conference championship game to the Dawn team. This time to Pello and Bethune-Cookman. But still made it to the playoffs because of the strength of the ASUN and just Alabama A&M having that good of a record, and eventually took on Pello, and I don't remember exactly how close the game was, but Ampersand lost, so still a successful season. He's hoping to get off to a little better start this season because he started 0-2 the past two seasons, so. If he can start off 1-0, he's already off to a better start, and he's had two great seasons the past two seasons. Next game is Southern Illinois at Alabama State. Turk with a little bit of a disappointing season. Doing good at the beginning of the season, starting off 2-0, but then slowly falling apart in conference play, not being able to get a win until the ETSU game. So Turk hoping to do a little better in conference this season, but start against, I believe, a decent conference player. Can maybe get him some momentum, get him ready for what looks to be a very tough conference this year. Next, we got Bethune-Cookman at Maine. Bethune-Cookman has a new coach. So Poet looking to keep the program good. But Poet looking to keep on the legacy with Bethune-Cookman, defend the national championship, even if he wasn't the coach for that. And he starts off with a game against Maine. Maine, I think, made the playoffs. I got close to making the playoffs last season with a couple big comeback wins. So Poet's going to have to keep an eye on that. Don't never get too comfortable in this game. But they can start off with a nice win. They'll be on track to. They'll one step closer to defending national championship. Next, we got Butler at Campbell. Campbell coming off their first playoff appearance and making it to the semifinals, I believe, where they lost to Bethune-Cookman. So, very successful Campbell. I saw in his media day he wants to not sneak into the playoffs, but firmly make it. So 8-4, 9-3. He's looking for, and a win against Butler will get him started off in the right track. Next, we got Villanova at Chattanooga. I think Villanova has a new coach. I'm not sure. Anyway, Chattanooga, another disappointing season. Again, in conference, couldn't get quite enough wins to. Quite enough wins in conference to really do anything, but tough conference. So, still a very good coach. If he can get start in, well, I think it's a decent coach, and Villanova. Get a win here, get a little bit of momentum started. Um, he'll be on the right track. Next, we got Jacksonville at East Tennessee State. Now, yes, this is a conference game. Yes, it's also in week 1. Purple and Fruity, the new coach of ETSU, had scheduled this game before Fruity joined the ASUN. And since they're not going against each other later in the year, they were allowed to keep the game. So, a non-conference conference game, I have no clue if this is going to be counted on conference record. But yeah, should be a good game. Purple having a bunch of really close games last year, not being able to finish a couple of them. So his record looked worse than his actual performance. Looking to finish some of those games out and maybe challenge for a playoff spot. Fruity, on the other hand, coming off a pretty successful season with Cal Poly, coming to a much tougher conference to see where exactly he stacks up. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I'm thinking East Tennessee State, but it can go either way. If I had to guess score, I'd probably guess under 3 points. So, it's going to be a close one. Next, we got my game, Robert Morris at Florida A&M. Robert Morris, good coach. Should be a good game. Trying to keep my streak alive. I'm currently 6-0 in weeks 1 through 3, so trying to keep that up. But you gotta pay attention. It's gonna be a tough game. Next, we got Holy Cross at Jacksonville State, the ASUN game of the week. Two pretty good teams. Jacksonville State coming off their most disappointing season yet, but still made the NIT and I think the semifinals of the NIT. So it wasn't a bad season, just not up to Matt's standards of making the playoffs. I think pretty high seeded both years too. So yeah, should be a good game. I think Matt's ready for a little bit of redemption, revenge, whichever one it would be, and get back to making the playoffs again. So this is step 1. Next, we got Kennesaw State at Idaho State, which I believe is Tenny. Judge looking like, with Pelo gone, looking like the favorite for the Dawn, going, I believe, 9-3 the past 2 seasons. Just getting beat out this season by Pelo, who went undefeated in the Dawn. Only lost to Jacksonville State. So Kansas State trying to keep that success up, and next up is Mercer. Portland State's visiting Mercer. Mercer is one of the tougher schedules this season, and that includes out of conference. So this should be a tough game, but Uncle Rico making the playoffs last season, hoping to do it again. And yeah, it's going to be a tough road for him, but I think he can do it. Next, we got South Dakota State visiting North Alabama. Wally joined week 2 last season and had a little bit disappointing at the beginning while he was still learning. But once he figured it out, he went on a roll and he was taking down some big players. So only went 6-6 last year, or 6-5 after he joined. But he's looking to really up that record now that he knows what he's doing for a full season. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be looking like him in his 3-way race so far from preseason. And, well, I guess 4 because ETSU was in Dusk as well. So 4 big contenders in the Dusk with Ampersand, ETSU, JSU, and North Alabama. But you never know. Chatty and Samford are both really good coaches. They could come out and upset any of all of them. And you never know what Turk's going to do. If he figured out out of conference last year. If he figures out in conference this year, it's going to be rough for everybody in the Dusk. Next, we got Elon visiting Samford. Elon, the NIT champion, steamrolling Florida A&M in the championship game. So, should be a good game. Ryan's a tough coach, but Samford's looking to redeem himself a little bit. He made the NIT, but I think got knocked out in the first round. So, looking for a little better record. Hopefully, he doesn't have to go against Matt in the first round of either playoffs or NIT. So, Stanford's looking for a little bit better season. I think they've gone 7-5 both seasons. And starts with a tough out-of-conference opponent. And finally, we got Duchesne at Stetson. This is Val visiting Stetson, visiting Hat. And heard they know each other very well, so it should be a fun game. I think this is also one of 2 games Stetson said they aren't worried about this season. So I think I'm going to go with Stetson's confidence and say and think they probably win. But and Val didn't do very well last season, but you never know in this game. You never know when someone's going to flip the script. So it should be a fun game. When you know someone very well, it's usually a close game. It's a little easier to get a read on someone when you know them, and it goes both ways. So it usually stays kind of close. But yeah, those are all of our week 1 games. Moving on into power rankings. For those who didn't see it, we got Alabama A&M at 1, Kennesaw State at 2, Campbell at 3, Jacksonville State at 4, ETSU at 5, Mercer at 6, Bethune-Cookman at 7, Florida A&M at 8, Stetson at 9, Samford at 10, Chattanooga at 11, North Alabama at 12, Jacksonville at 13, and Alabama State at 14. I think my only differences was I definitely moved North Alabama way up. I forget exactly how high up, but it wasn't at 12. It was above other Dusk people like Samford and Chattanooga. I believe I had Stetson and Bethune-Cookman flipped. Stetson above Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman below. And I think I had Mercer above ETSU. So, overall pretty good. But yeah, ASUN's tough conference to rank. So, it's going to be interesting. I think we got 39 wins out of conference last season. We replaced an inactive coach. Not bad, but had become inactive due to life circumstances with a very good coach. So I think we might be able to crack 40 wins this season. It's going to be crazy. But I think that's all I've got for you guys today. I can't think of anything else I need to do this week with preseason. A little bit shorter one than what next week's going to be, because I'm not reviewing a ton of games. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.